conversation yesterday about my boss gave me $650,000 and I had to go spend it somehow. So
Not
this,
on Amazon.
yeah, not on Amazon. So it relates to what Morgan's going through with, so we're gonna start big picture and kind of whittle down to SWCD level. So the, water quality issues in the state, meet the federal level at the EQC. Tell me if I'm wrong there. I'm still learning all these things in order. So EQC tells DEQ, tells ODA, this is what we need for you to focus on when you're regulating things and how you regulate things and what your concerns should be. And then, so they're the regulatory side. And then when the SWCDs come in, we don't want to be regulatory. We never want to be seen as regulatory. How do we still just promote the education around the best management practice around, come from that perspective? So we all know what SIAs are, right? If you don't, strategic implementation areas, that is what the legislature worked out with ODA and DEQ to use throughout the state to meet in different areas of the state and have open houses and talk to people about what ODA is looking for from their improving in ag water quality, and then SWCDs just take part in the voluntary part of those SIAs. We set it up, we meet with people, we invite them to talk about it. Then, but SWCDs were this is like everything we do. It's a process that rolls out and we go along and improves over the years. And so SWCDs were saying things like, okay, yeah, so I have this SIA grant that I can have an SIA in my county after ODA comes in and has the open house and says what's wrong and who might need to fix what. But there's still a lot of other needs out there for us to help implement these practices. And so in non-regulatory ways, or to try to help landowners meet those voluntary. Sorry, this is the first time I've had to think about this way, so it's a little it's a big topic. But anyway, so one of the biggest complaints was, there's just, we can plan these things out, but there's not really money for implementation, and it's sporadic. You can have these projects, but then you have to go out and apply for grants, or you want us to do this monitoring, but we're not quite sure what you want in the monitoring. So part of the solution is that the legislature gave money, $650,000 to ODA to put into their general fund to help with these questions and these and help SWCDs have some solutions to move these ag water quality to being more healthy. So the legislative intent of the Ag Water Quality Support Grant is to provide funding to support ODA's ag water quality program goals and to improve streams for fish and wildlife, as well as ag water quality area plans and the SIA initiative. So before I move on, do I need to clarify anything? That's kind of good. Okay. Next slide, please. So, like I was saying yesterday, I had to think about how I work as an SWCD manager and how I can try to help out ODA with this SIA initiative, but in voluntary ways, using this $650,000. What would be, in my mind, the best use for managers, for SWCDs and watershed councils to try to do voluntary things ahead of time to meet the goals of the area plans, which are part of the SIA process. So this pot of money is the open solicitation every biennium, offered to SWCDs and watershed councils at this time, biennially, anywhere from 20,000 to 149,000. And the funding is for the management area. Management area-wide assessments like action plans or strategic planning, development of measurable objectives, adaptive management or goals that are not currently being met from area plans. Next slide. So in my thought process, I thought these proposal types would be really what people at the SWCD and Watershed Council need to help them get on the train to getting projects done. Because these are things that we use to help organize our world. So watershed assessments, specifically to track progress toward ag water program goals for local area plans. So like the Wheeler SWCD has, tell me if I'm saying this wrong, because you have a watershed where you already have a bunch of landowners who agree to have these assessments. And basically what you were looking for was aerial drones to do the length of this watershed to find those places where you needed improvements to the riparian areas. Did I say that right? Okay, so she needed the money to do the assessment. We gave it to her. Technical assistance or outreach and engagement, permitting, cultural resource surveys, engineered designs, etc., or workshops, tours, site visits, promoting and or achieving goals from the SIA area plans focus areas. A lot of what we complain about when we're working at the SWCD level is, how much is that cultural resource review? How much do you want to engineer this river system? So we don't, those are, we have all these new costs that are coming in from counties and from land management planning that we weren't seeing before. And so how do we get this extra $30,000, this extra $50,000, this extra thing we need to get this project off the ground? So we gave, so that was something we addressed. Monitoring. Some people already had monitoring plans that they were using to establish baselines and just needed a little more money because monitoring takes a long time, and they just needed a little extra money for that. So we put it in there that monitoring to address specific needs in area plans, stakeholder input, designing the specifics of the monitoring plan and protocol can include funding for equipment, testing, and results. If you've ever bought a SON $7,500 piece of equipment that you can use to monitor water temperature, suspended solids down the line. Not every SWCD has $7,500 in their back pocket to go buy one of these things. So we thought, let's do that. Testing is expensive, especially if you need to do it over a number of years. Put that in there. And then people wanted to collaborate across watersheds or across county boundary lines. And so we thought, well, we could help people with strategic planning across watersheds. The whole idea is that you have to read your area plan, look at what the concerns are, and then fit these objectives into that money to get money. So if you advance it. So we went through the process. I said yesterday we had 14 applications, and then we were able to fund 9. There was $850,000 worth of ask. We can only give $650 away, so we had to go through all the applications together. The successful proposal idea, so you can take this information back with you to your managers or to the people who work on these, to your technicians, is that they addressed specific area plan SIA concerns, so TMDLs, degraded stream side bed, sediment in streams, tailwater irrigation, things we always work on. Designed inventory assessments for prioritization of locations, specific ag water quality concerns projects addressing ag water quality in small watersheds. So we awarded a grant to Hood River because they wanted to, they've been sort of haphazardly working with NRCS to upgrade irrigation from, I'm not sure exactly what their irrigation model was, but they wanted to find a better way to inventory all the ag in the area that was using older style irrigation practices. Just with driving by, seeing what they're using, and then they could, in an organized way, go back and outreach to those people and try to show them that NRCS has certain funding or whatever. Ag water quality effectiveness monitoring components. Like I said, sometimes people just needed a sonde or to money for testing, so we awarded some of those. Reasonable costs tied into exact work performed to accomplish goals. So if you know, I can share these with you. This is not secret information. So if any district or watershed council wants to see how these folks were awarded these grants and how they organized their information, that's the whole idea. We want to teach and give information, not make it somewhere out in the world where you can't find it. Provided maps, photos of project work together with a variety of partners, leveraging funds, achieving goals across watersheds. So a lot of these people were working together with like tribal, with tribes, with other SWCDs, with watershed councils, with other NGOs. And we liked that they were leveraging, and it wasn't just one pot of money going towards one thing, but they needed just a little bit more to finish something up. And then outreaching to stakeholders, soliciting the process input to achieve area plan goals. That's our whole role, is that we want local input. We don't want a top-down system where everyone's telling us, here's your money, go do something with it. We're supposed to take the input from the local area folks and try to find the money then to help fix the problems they understand they're having. And then the last one is technical assistance to perform cultural resource reviews, pay for permitting, engineering designs to complete projects and process. Again, it's expensive. Next slide. So the next steps are, so this is a brand new program, so we had to create it from scratch. We're working on getting the grant agreements out, feedback forms and application evaluations. People like to read how other people were successful, and so we want to provide that information to people so they have it. And then develop a timeline for the next grant. So now I'll give the, do we need to transition?
Yeah, so again,